in the middle of talking about something, and then it went live.
All right, so now that we're here, let me just hit you with the facts. This live stream, I'm going to be making a portrait demo, but I'm also going to break down what I think are 5 really useful things that you can do to make your drawings just genuinely better. I say that they're like properly tips just because I think they're things that you need to be kind of prompted to do. Otherwise, you can go through a lot of time spinning your wheels and like you'll never come across the moment that your drawing kind of requires you to do this. But I just know it's going to make it better for you if you do. I'm not going to tease them out over 2 hours. I think we'll be here for about 2 hours drawing. I'm just going to start hitting them straight away so that you don't have to like stay here too long if you don't want to. But I've got Stephen here with me on the stream. So he'll be keeping things in line while I kind of lose my mind trying to make a decent drawing in 2 hours that lives up to the title of the stream. What did you guys call it on Proko? What was the?
I think it says "Stop Sucking" with Steve. Stop sucking at portraits with Stephen Bauman.
Now, by the way, like the incredible sort of irony here will be if I make a drawing that really sucks, and
it's happened before.
Kind of betrayed my purpose altogether.
Yeah, it's happened before. There was one stream that we did where at halfway through the stream, I think, you decided that it was an exercise in making a bad drawing that you had to fix.
Did I do that? Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, wait, how much can I curse? How much
can I swear so much. It's fine. We do it all the time.
You know what? I always I'm like a nice guy and like I hold back. But like if you have kids in the room, just like ask them to go to the other room, go play outside because I'm feeling it today. I'm feeling the cursing energy.
Steven moved across the world and decided that now he can swear as much as he wants. All right,
yeah,
so
living in Rome, the attitude here is just different, you know? People just kind of go for it, you know? They're not so worried about social norms and good behavior, you know? Cazzo. This is the attitude.
Yeah, so like Steve was saying, we wrangled him. He's this world traveling man. He's gonna give us tips. We have 6 of them. I won't spoil them.
We have 5. We have 5, and then there was a bonus because I thought of a 6th one, and I was like, nobody on YouTube says 6 tips, you know? It's always 5 tips.
That is true. Okay, so you guys have to ask good questions if you want to learn something that's outside of these 5, maybe 6 tips. But what's
by the way, like I did have an idea. Please don't do this, and I don't know even why I'm saying it because I don't want you to do it, but I'm going to tempt fate and say it anyway. I thought, what if we did like only bad questions? Just give me the worst questions you can come up with.
Okay, I think the
like
chat
troll me is what I'm saying. Effectively, I'm saying. Just give me the worst that you got. Give me all the unsolicited critiques that you can manage. I'm here for them.
All right, only bad questions, guys. Oops, all bad questions.
All right, really throw it a good one. We actually have a decent one. Don't hold back. You know, it's fine. It's fine to kind of try.
What is number 1 today?
All right, listen. This one will save you more time than anything else. And in fact, so we all know drawing is like relatively inefficient. And I say that as somebody who's been kind of doing it for like 25 years. There's a lot of ways, there are a lot of things that can like slow you down in drawing. One of them is to not have chosen a focal area, right? So if you're making a portrait drawing, I think one of the things that you learn is like, okay, it's time to draw the whole head. And while like that's completely true, and I teach that in all of my courses, the blocking course included, it's important to know the structure of the entire head and to kind of place it on the canvas in a good way. But when it comes to like kind of rendering things out, that's where the time suck is, right? Like at the beginning of a drawing, you'll see as soon as I get this head blocked in, shit can happen really, really fast. But when you get down into that, like sort of adding fine detail, if you do that everywhere uniformly, your drawing is going 20 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours. Decide on a really great focal point, and that focal point is going to be where you centralize all of your detail and focus, right? And beyond just being like a time saver, it actually makes it like a better viewing experience for your audience. Because, I mean, by the way, I'm not saying anything revolutionary, but composition 101, where do you want people to look, right? That's what composition is all about, and portraiture shouldn't be any different than that. So choose.
Do you think that focal point. Do you think that the reference itself should help you determine that focal point, or should you choose it and it's like regardless of anything that's happening in that reference photo?
I mean, it's a little bit, I think there's like, you have to speak to kind of both sides of that, because on one level, to not utilize the source image to help you find a good one would kind of be like, well, why are you choosing that source image, right? So if you don't feel like there's something focal in your source image, then you should maybe think about a different source image or a different model setup, or, you know, however you're working, whether it's from life or whatever. But then at a certain point, like on the other side of that, I would say, you're the director of the movie, right? Like you decide what's, you know, in focus and what isn't. So I'm not going to say that, like, all right, let's say hypothetically, right, I'm looking at the source image that's on screen. I love ears. I'm an ear guy, you know, so sue me. I could make this drawing about that ear. I could make a composition that set that as the kind of focal area. It wouldn't be a great idea because the source image so clearly is orchestrated to point towards the eye of the model, you know, so I'd be like going across the river to get a drink of water. I just don't think it's a good idea to like totally betray your source material. At the same time, like it's not driving the car, you are.
So what is the thing that, well, here, I'll ask this question. Do you think that you could choose to then prioritize that shadowed eye in this reference and make that the focal point? Or is that totally, too counter to what
I mean, like creating focal interest is a matter of like playing on a formula. There's a series of variables, right? So what draws your attention? Strong contrast, sharp edges, detail, things like this. I would say that these are three like immutable things. Those tend to draw interest, and if you utilize all of them in the same space, that's going to become like a powerful area in the composition. So you could definitely soften other areas. You could reduce contrast. This is the other one too, that I think like kind of unlocks the code, or at least it's the thing that for me, when I started doing it, it made all like the compositional stuff I was trying to do kind of make a lot more sense. And it was to consider that I don't have to use value everywhere, or I don't have to use value the way that the source image is telling me to use value. By that I mean, it's a Russian idea, like, or at least I heard it from kind of Russian academics. Use value where you need it, right? And if you kind of analyze what that means, it really means like use value to point the composition in the right direction. So for me, that was a big deal, meaning I could reduce the contrast here. I could reduce the contrast here. I could push all of our attention here. I would have probably started out with like a different like location of the head within the canvas if I wanted that to be the case. And I probably also would have had to do some thumbnails, because the more oblique your compositional idea, I think like the more like, you know, thumbnail sketches and composition studies you should probably do, because you're kind of trying to play like a low percentage shot, you know?
Sure. So what is the focus point that you've chosen, just so we know in advance?
Come on.
So it's definitely the ear then? No.
It's his chin hair. It's the chin hair. It's a little salt and pepper down here at the bottom. No, of course. No, I'm just going to make it his eye. It's just, yeah, I think it's sensible. Also for like teaching scenarios, a lot of times you probably just want to choose the thing that's like more or less kind of down the middle. I don't think that's always the case. It's nice to choose things that are fringe and like show how that can work. But on another level, you know, you can kind of teach variability through choosing central cases instead of like edge cases, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you want to teach composition, you probably don't teach weird composition first. You probably teach like, you know, down the middle, how does an average composition work? And then you kind of move outward from there.
Mm-hmm. Do you have an answer to people with that kind of idea about how you start with the baseline and then teach variety off of that? What is the thing that you say to people when they say that they don't want to draw hyper realistic, but their teacher is telling them to learn from fine art standards principles?
But I think that's like a different animal. In my opinion, I would say that's a different animal. And like the response I have to that is that like, I don't think you have to like, the sister argument to that one, or the brother argument to that one is that you need to like learn to draw hyperreal so that you can choose to draw stylized. I think it's really like, it's an unnecessary premise. I want to call it like a false premise, but I think it's just generally kind of unnecessary. Like if you know what your taste is and you know kind of what your direction is, you should just study that. Like, I don't know, like I didn't spend any time studying photorealism just to know, like, I don't want to be a photorealist. Like I knew I never wanted to do that. So like, it's hard enough to like do all the stuff that you have to do to get good. Like putting up like an unnecessary boundary, to me, like why do it?
That's fair. I don't know anything about Keith Haring's journey through art, but I have to imagine there was a time when he drew something that was more realistic, you know? But if someone sets out to draw like Keith Haring at the start of it, first and foremost, chances are they're not going to draw exactly like Keith Haring. So I think it's fine to choose a goal like that and then miss. Or
Yeah,
just have
exactly. Like you're going to grow and change, right? Yeah. Sorry, I spoke over there, Stephen.
Oh, it's okay. The internet is doing a lot of work to send our signals back and forth between San Diego and Rome. So there's going to be some hang up. I do have some questions from people in the chat if you want those before we go on to number 2.
All right, give me the worst first. Worst first.
All right. The first one is the worst one is from a person's name I'm not going to try. They said, okay, what would you rather eat? Takis infused with grilled cheese sandwich, fried with oil, or jelly infused apple?
Who's been watching me? Takis has been like a major theme in my life over the last 6 months.
Takis are incredible, so that makes sense. You're human, and they're a top tier snack.
But there's some legit lame Takis flavors, right? Like there's actually Takis that they advertise with 0 heat. Like
no,
it's like, oh, you can have a car, 0 wheels. Like you can't drive that. Like what?
Yeah, this one's water.
What are we Takising about here? You know, like, I mean, give me a break.
I'm gonna let that one pass. I'm gonna let that one pass.
Just go. Say something else fast. No. But like
Takis with grilled cheese in there, or a jelly infused apple.
Jelly infused. Now we could talk like a lot of different kinds of jelly, but I feel like an apple with a jelly texture, like a crunchy apple and a jelly, doesn't feel like a mix to me. So I'd go grilled cheese. Why not?
Okay.
I mean, who doesn't love a grilled cheese? First of all.
What they're basically describing, though, when they say Takis infused with grilled cheese sandwich, it would probably be the cheese they're talking about. I don't know about any part of the world that you've been through, but that kind of just sounds like Tosti Locos to me, where they put some cheese and some other stuff on there. Like, that's a thing you can already get, and it's delicious.
First of all, like also like Americans are a bit obsessed with cheeses in their flavorings of things. It's like everything is more or less just some kind of cheese flavor attached to whatever other thing that you're eating.
That is true. That is true. That's why we have such bad shit flavors.
Having traveled the world, I mean, America, there's some things that you'll miss about the chips. I mean, Takis an American? Is that an American brand?
So it was Barcel is the brand behind it, and I believe that's from Mexico. But I think Barcel is now owned by whatever other larger Frito-Lay's company.
Kellogg's, whatever. Yeah.
Like, this is the same 4 brands.
Yeah, it's like some dark shit, like where like everything's owned by like these like 2 fucking food conglomerates.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
You have this illusion of choice. But I mean, we're talking about potato chips. So if you're really eating that many chips, like you got a problem anyway.
I have other questions here. This one is about food also, but maybe we've already answered this, judging by what you said before. Brenda asked, what's the best food in Rome? Is it just the Takis that you eat, or is it something else?
The best food in Rome. Wow. I mean, it's a long list. I think I like in Rome is to find, and I mean, it's kind of everywhere, but the oldest restaurant you can find that serves the simplest food that you can find. That's like always the kind of best thing in Rome. There is now like obviously restaurants that are like hip to like kind of social media culture, where they're like trying to like make a dessert that fits on Instagram or whatever. And like
we got stunt foods.
Those places are all kind of uniformly not interesting. Also because like Rome has like an actual food culture. So, if you wanted to go to like, you're in Rome, you want to go to a cool place, you go to like Pizzeria ai Marmi, which is just when you get across the river to my neighborhood in Trastevere. It's like Marmi, I think, is like a morgue. So it's like morgue pizzeria. But they call it that because it's got these like old marble tables that kind of resemble like a mortuary slab. But it's all like just hairy guys that stink, like making amazing pizza and like other, kind of traditional Italian foods. So Pizzeria ai Marmi is a good argument. Yeah, but just go to places that look shabby, and you'll like 9 times out of 10 you'll have like a good situation.
Okay, I agree.
But whoa.
Uh-huh.
One of the coolest foods that you're gonna have, right, is what's called a maritozzo con la panna, right? So a maritozzo is like a bun, semi-sweet bun. Originally, I think they had raisins in the dough, and they put like a little bit, like a very thin, like sugar glaze over it.
Sure.
You cut that bun down the middle. You open it up. You take a spatula. You put in like a really heavily whipped cream through that. You have that in the morning with a cappuccino. It's fantastic. Maritozzo con la panna.
Okay. I think my favorite food that I've had that's supposed to, if I remember correctly, be a decidedly Italian thing is fincione.
Fincione.
Yeah, it's just a thing that you like.
Where's it from? Do you know?
Sicily.
Okay. See, you go further south, like there are things that they'll make in the south that you won't even find them in Rome. Like there's things you'll find in Rome you won't even find in Milan, which is like further north.
Yeah.
So I don't know it.
Okay, I hope you have it someday. Yeah, it's basically like, it's kind of like trash pizza. I think the name, it's supposed to mean something about the texture of it. It's like a really dense bread. You can just get out of this little cart that looks kind of like those like paletero carts, like little ice cream man cart. They'll take it out of there. It'll be vaguely heated up. This tiny little dusting of some sauce and maybe a meat or an anchovy on top. Makes me happy, man. I'm a simple boy.
Let's do it.
All right.
Hey.
Huh?
I think we're at a great place for point number 2.
For step 2? All right.
Yeah. So the phrase I used, if I say to you, break the seal, what are you thinking about?
Evangelion.
What is that?
It's an anime from the 90s.
Anime from the 90s.
It's biblical sci-fi.
It's good that where my association isn't where your association is. Well, there's like I don't even know if I can talk about it in the Proko channel. I think it's too. Do
you go biblical, or what's the thing here?
No, it's like a thing at like bars that you would do.
Oh wait,
but then I'm talking about bars. I'm talking about Do you mean
illicit substances?
Yeah, but they're not illicit. They're perfectly legal if you're of a certain age, But I mean, I don't think that's your audience. I don't think we need to like pass over this, or we're gonna get like banned from YouTube's algorithm. Fine. No,
we're not talking about anything that people use other words for, like on TikTok. So you're safe.
Okay, all right. So basically, at a bar, like you go there with a bunch of friends, and you'd get like a pitcher of beer or something. You're also drinking beer, and you get another pitcher of beer, The first person who has to go to the bathroom to break the seal, that person like pays the tab.
I see.
I don't know why I do these streams. So it reveals too much about me.
So you're going to break the seal. You're going to pay the tab on this drawing. How do you mean it?
I guess what I'm saying is create a dark value early, right? Right now, the drawing is in like a super rough state. I think, I have a kind of slightly sort of recognizable human head, here. And I feel like what usually happens is we start to like imbue the drawing with like a lot more shapes, a lot more definition. We start like searching for anatomical cues and structure and doing like a lot of drawing, a lot of design. What we're doing also is we're putting all these little boundaries around the values that we need to put into the drawing, right? So what's easier, to put in 2 or 3 big, bold value shapes, or to put in 100 really well-designed value shapes? Well, I mean, obviously, right? So when you have the drawing in this state, you need to act decisively. Well, 2 things really need to happen. 1, you need to be good at your block in. Like if you cannot block in and you cannot find, actually, I'm going to blow the 3rd point. I need to bring up the 3rd point.
All right.
3rd point is structural symmetry, right? So if you understand like what it is to draw a head, then you understand that the human body is a great, you want the 25-cent phrase here, bilateral symmetry, right?
Mm-hmm.
The human body is structurally symmetrical. And if your block-in is based around that idea, then you understand the vertical center line, you understand that the features all are tilting effectively on the same axis. And don't come after me, Loomis people. I know there's perspective, but we're talking about a generic head, okay? And also, let's talk focal length as well, but that's another conversation. The point I want to make is effectively the features need to like tilt alongside each other. If you can't block in the head in such a way that you can establish that bilateral symmetry in a decent sense of head structure, I think this stage is going to be really hard to apply. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means you actually need to block in better so that you can do this the way that you're supposed to. When you're blocking into the stage, you get to a good place where you feel like all the features are kind of lined up. You start to decide, where are my major kind of masses of value? Now, I know where I want my focus to be, right? We already talked about this. So I know that I want this eye to be a focal area. Excuse me. And I'm going to make that true by blocking it in hard AF. So if you kind of... All right, here's the thing though. You kind of need to like normalize this behavior for yourself because it doesn't feel normal at first to like take a really soft graphite stick and kind of bang in your darkest value in like the middle of a drawing that you actually don't feel like too confident about. But let me hit you with something, a fact, right? Painters do this all the time. They take a big brush, they block in a couple really big shapes. And what does that give them? It gives them the ability to work broadly out of that value for the duration of the time that they're working. Meaning that if they waited forever to put in their big value shapes, they would have relatively little time to kind of refine them and like work them into a functional impression. So break the seal early, at the right time, but early.
Yeah, I think everything that you have said so far is about setting yourself up for success in the future, knowing that there's a system that you can apply that makes it so that you have structure that you can then tackle, not necessarily mindlessly, but without having to reconceptualize it every time.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're planning for the kind of drawing that you know you're going to make. Like I know with this drawing, the thing that I want is to get to like a full value state. And I also know that I want my focal interest to be here. And let me just like unpack like focal interest for a second. Because, you know, when I teach this in workshops, people like get the first idea and they're like, I have the first idea. Awesome. If there's dark value, that means that's where the focal point is. So I can't put dark value anywhere else. That's not exactly true. It's kind of a combination of things. So strong contrast, dark values, sharp edges. These things are, you know, if you combine them together, very powerful. But let's say you have like a very dark value over here on this side, but it's also surrounded by another like relatively dark value. Well, okay, that kind of mitigates a little bit how much of my attention is drawn to that. So just consider like you need to kind of creatively work with these ideas. It's not just as simple as like, here's a dark value, there's my focal point. You need to like orchestrate them together to make something out of it.
I think an interesting thing for people who are watching the stream right now and seeing the reference that you've got is that this is actually, I believe, the same model as the art that's in the thumbnail, right?
The art of, yes, yeah, it is. In fact, yeah, this, actually, it's funny. I was working at my buddy Steve's workshop. Here, I'll put it in. I was working with my buddy Steve Forster. He was teaching a workshop here in Rome, and this great model, Andrea Morani, who's actually, he's on Patreon. Go find him. But he's just like this really like super cool looking guy. I've drawn him a bunch of times. But this, this is a drawing made effectively with this idea, right? There's plenty of places, you know, out here and here. I could have put like really dark values, but I wanted you to be in the eyes. So like, why wouldn't I do that? The same thing with detail. There's a lot of like hair detail, a lot of detail that I could have put in a lot of different places that I didn't, because why? I wanted my detail to be like here in the eyes.
Mm-hmm. A person
was that in focus, or was that all out of focus? Did I just show you guys an out of focus drawing for like?
It was great. Yeah? It was a little high, but that's fine.
Okay.
Someone in the chat said, "Wow, how? I have great news for you. It's all the steps that he's going to talk about here and the things that you can find out about in his courses on proko.com/Bauman. You can get those for
There you go.
20%
And
off right now.
What are they? They're on sale, people.
Yeah. And so that means that the block-in course, a fantastic one that he was just telling you that you needed to learn about, get that block-in, build that structure for yourself, that is on sale, 20% off, and it makes it a flat $200. And we do have payment plans if you need that.
Look at these guys.
I'm not saying go broke to be able to buy a course, but if you do decide to, if you decide that is a more equitable situation for you, I understand, and we would love to have you there. Otherwise, hang out and learn these 5, maybe 6 tips if we get that 6th one out of him. All right,
we
that's
we do a giveaway. We need it, Steven. If we can,
do you want to do a giveaway?
Do a stream. You got to give something away. Yeah.
Okay. All right. What are the terms that you want for this giveaway?
I'm so bad at this. What do people want? What do people want to do? You know what? What are they going to be excited about? It doesn't matter to me what it is.
We'll ask questions throughout this thing. And at some point in time, one of these questions is going to strike you and tell you this person has the wisdom in there, but doesn't have the course. So
that's right.
You guys ask questions.
I want to feel the hunger. I want to feel the brewing sort of artistic ambition in your questions.
Yeah. You want the bite of a master that's burgeoning.
Exactly.
All right. And they said, someone said, what is a giveaway? It's my first stream. We're going to take questions in this chat. I'm going to bring my face up in here for this one. We're going to take questions during this chat, during this live stream. And at some point in time, I'm going to ask one of those questions to Steven. It's going to hit him in such a way that he's going to decide this person should get one of my courses for free. So we will reach out to you. We will give you that course for free. So you just let me know when you guys have good questions by dropping them in the chat. All right, Steven.
Good.
Back to 2, we were doing break the seal. Do you think break the seal is one you want to talk about, or do you want to talk about what you talked about from number 3 a little bit already?
I think. Well, let's see. What could we have not covered at break the seal? Right now, like let's talk about how to break the seal. I guess like if you're watching what I'm doing now, you notice the pressure that I give to an area like this. And also the sort of, the slightly less pressure that I give to an area like this. You're also going to see me like massively smudging all of the time, especially like early on in a drawing. This is a really effective way to like give your drawings that sense of like breadth that they need to have at an early stage, and also get rid of like a lot of the white that like kind of sits in between your values if you don't kind of smush it into the paper. I used to do this in a really like kind of laborious way. And what the hell, So I did it the hard way for some years. But I just think there's a faster way, and that is, of course, if you just kind of smudge it in really quickly, it kind of solves a few different problems. And I don't actually see the bad thing about it. All the stuff that you hear is just like old art teacher, like parrot speak, where they're just like, oh, the oil's in your hand and stuff. But unless it's like it is now, like 40 degrees Celsius in Rome, just wipe your hand on your pants and make sure it's not too oily, just get on with it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
No, it makes sense.
But then, so you want to like kind of break the seal and get your values in. Be creative for like how you put, graphite onto the paper. Like your pencil can do like a lot of different stuff. And I think, people a lot of times, they just kind of use a pencil like it's a hammer and everything's a nail. They're just trying to do like one thing with it over and over. And I just think, oh, there's like all this other stuff your pencil can do. So just consider you can be very broad and you can be very messy. As long as you have like a decent structure in place and you have some sense of like where the drawing's supposed to go. So then everybody's gonna say, oh, well, if you're really good, then you can do that. It's like, yeah, but you don't get good at it by not doing it. So like you need to normalize this behavior, right? Like, everybody starts out in oil paint like timid with value. It doesn't mean that's good or like a good way to start out oil painting. I think that a lot of times, and this is not something I imagine. This is something that's validated by like every study on education that you can hear about, but that you learn a lot through mistakes, right? So if you can make mistakes faster, and more kind of roughly in ways that would cost you less time, you would progress faster. So just get used to kind of working in a kind of messy zone, because let me tell you, like eventually you will. Like, what is the trend that we noticed in like all artists over time? There's a lot of times they kind of start out in this like tight way, this careful way, and then over time they figure out like how to work quickly. And I think the working quickly thing is not even only like economic for me, like in a sense that as an artist you kind of need to work fast to like produce enough artwork to be relevant. I think that it's also a matter of like kind of life goals. Like there's a lot that I would like to say and do, and if I don't work fast, like I'm not going to get to do all of that.
Yeah, I think the thing that it kind of comes down to, whether it's a person working in fine art, whether it's a person working in comics, or anything that you and I've talked about before with like street art, is that you start to find not just the economy of your time, but also the economy of where that detail goes and what people will actually see when they look at it. We all start making an image where we have detail everywhere because it's real fun to do cool small stuff with a pencil or a pen or whatever. But at a certain point, you understand that this is going to be viewed at this sort of distance. This, like, I can't spend all of this time for things that even I won't look at and be jazzed about in the small details. And you just find what is like, not like to bring like technical, like business stuff into it, like that, not quite this, but minimum viable product. Like you have the version that does the thing that you're supposed to do with less work. And that is respecting your time and your expertise and skill.
I love that corporate speak. I love that, Steve.
You like that MVP talk? You were talking about
ROI? I always love that.
What's the ROI?
KPIs. I love that stuff because it's so like it's language that's based on like being effective, and I think that like it's such a good kind of discipline for artists to get into, is like to figure out, like, listen, I'm a sensitive, creative soul. I was at, there's a place, a museum here in Rome called Palazzo Bonaparte, so like Napoleon's old palace. And they had a Hokusai exhibition there. Do you know this artist?
No.
You do. Even if you don't know him, I know that you know him.
Is this, what was the name again? Sorry, I was looking.
Hokusai is a Japanese artist.
This is the waves of Kanagawa or Hanagawa, right, or whatever.
Yeah, the Great Wave off Kanagawa, I think, is the title of the major piece, like from him that everybody kind of knows. Well, I was at this exhibition. Actually, I don't remember exactly where this digression goes. When we get the digression out of the way, then we can like backtrack. I went to this exhibition, and I was thinking like, oh, this is going to be kind of anecdotally cool. Okay, like whatever, like. I'm not a printmaker. I'm never going to like necessarily be a printmaker. Like it's not an interest that I have in doing. So I just want to go and like, be like a person at an exhibition, just kind of enjoy the artwork, like in a pure way or whatever. And I'm going through and like, there's all the works from his oeuvre, right? Like all the stuff that he made in his career. And it's all like kind of very cool and anecdotal and stuff. And then I get to the room where they have the Great Wave off, somebody correct me, please, God. Kanagawa? Is it Kanagawa?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, right. I looked it up afterwards. Yeah. Thank
you. And I go up to this thing, and it's a print. It's like A4 size. Like it's not even big. Like it's maybe like this big. If you kind of think of the size of my hands. And they were playing this piece of music. It is a piece of music that I like, by the way. And so they're like, there was this kind of slightly media experience happening. But I'm telling you now, I wept. It was so beautiful. Like it moved me in a way that I could not have expected whatsoever. Completely took me by surprise. Like, like, if you're like a big Star Wars nerd, you go to watch Star Wars and like, you get, I kind of find a nice word. Anyway, you get very excited, for the whole Star Wars experience. Of course, you kind of know that that's going to happen, right? But this is me thinking like I'm just at an exhibition that's going to be like a yada yada for me. Like, oh, it's just a fun time, and I'll kind of get on with whatever I'm going to do next. But completely took me by surprise and kind of blew me away. It's really amazing, like simple artwork that was like so grand and so beautiful. Wow. I don't know how we got here though. That's bumming me out.
So the question was about the fidelity or the you working with respecting your time, minimum viable product. That was the thing immediately before it.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Maybe it was about the simplicity of the thing.
I think it was. Yeah, I mean, it, by the way, it is like, you know, I think one of the really cool kind of strong things about it was that like it is this like incredible distillation. I think it was stronger for how little realism it actually contained. Like it's not a very realistic picture.
So was it that image in particular, or were you looking at just like did the feeling wash over you like a wave while you were specifically looking at the waves, or was it a different work?
No, it was that. No, it's that one. It's that and only that one. Like of the like all the work that he made in his whole career, like that one, like kind of stands. Like it is genuinely special. Like there's something about it, something about that distillation. It's just amazing, and it's like it kind of like renews your kind of faith in why to even do this stuff in the first place. Like, you know, I think that's like the experience that you imagine having, that you'd like to have, but it seems so unreal until you do. You know, like I'm sure that like everybody that's like hearing this right now, I'm sure that's the smallest percentage of them, anybody's had any kind of experience like that. Certainly with like a traditional like 2D artwork. I mean, movies have a way of like hitting your emotional buttons. It's a little bit more direct, you know?
Sure.
Music kind of, you know, is similar to that in the sense that like it hits different than like visual art. It's like when that happens with like just a raw picture of a thing. Wow. Holy shit.
The one, I think we might have actually talked about this before, but the one that hit me like this, I was trying to just visit a girlfriend at the time. I went to Chicago and we went to an art gallery that was there. And I saw the painting at the Moulin Rouge.
Okay.
You know
with Toulouse-Lautrec.
Exactly. That painting just, it freaked my bean. My mind was blown. I don't think it's an especially incredible piece. It's pretty big, but as soon as we turned the corner into that room, it just, I don't know. I felt stuff. I felt things that I hadn't felt for other pieces of art that I think are more technically well achieved. I don't know if it's the color relationship, the composition, the prominent face in the front of it, but yeah, it just got me.
Yeah,
with an immediacy.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things I was saying about it. Is like I think that the abstraction of the wave like helped in the sense that like I wasn't distracted by the realism of it. All like the details, it was just the symbol, the raw like emotion of the thing was able to kind of come through.
Is it the kind of thing that people kind of recommend about an art that isn't necessarily finished or quote unquote finished or rendered to hyperrealism, where you as the viewer get to become a participant in decoding the visual that you're looking at?
I do love that. It gives you kind of room to breathe. You know, that doesn't feel like what you call kind of didactic, right? Like a painting that's trying to like teach you something, which so much realism kind of comes across this way. Like when it tries to be deep, it's like lecturing you about something, kind of hitting you over the head with it like a hammer. And so it kind of winds up feeling a little bit hollow because it's kind of hitting you too much. And I think a lot of contemporary art is like this, not just representational work, but it's like kind of like really trying to hit you in the brain, you know? And I think everybody else somehow knows that art that hits you in the heart is like way stronger than art that hits you in the brain.
Yeah. The thing that I've always said about this is that in that situation where something is like quote unquote incomplete or leave space for the viewer to be a participant in that, it becomes a stronger work because when a person looks at that thing, if they're willing to have that conversation with the work, what, you remember something?
No. Well, there's another thing, right? It's this. So I was listening to this, you know, the masterclass website, right, where they do like, oh, you know, I've been making finger puppets for 100 years. There's a masterclass on how to make finger puppets. But there's this guy that was in like marketing or something, right? And like there's this sick part of me that like loves people in marketing because it's like they're just that. Like that's you. Fine.
Yes.
They've made peace with it. And I think that's great. Like, who cares? If you make something that you believe in and you care about, why wouldn't you market it? Why wouldn't you tell people what you loved about it? But then, so he was talking about this trick, this marketing trick. And he said you see it all the time in news media, right? And it's when, like on the news, and he gave the example that like, there's a newscast, right? The, what do you call it? The anchor says, a woman was discovered missing this afternoon and presumed dead. One fact. Then they tell you another fact. Neighbors said that her boyfriend seems like a really strange guy. He's just told you two totally separate facts. He didn't say anything happened. He did not indicate to you that there was something to be discovered by the connection of them. But you, in your head, 2 + 2 is 4. Like you just made the connection. But you like that point more than if he'd said it because you came to that conclusion.
Exactly.
And it's like a really cheap kind of like marketing trick. But I think in that case, we can feel like it's cheap and it sucks. But like in reality, like we do have a kind of bond to things that we make, the conclusions that we come to ourselves, you know?
Yeah. This is the entire idea of the movie Inception. Where if they just told the guy the thing, it would not be as authentic. He wouldn't move with the notion as deeply. But if they make him think it's his own idea, bam, it's special. This is why every person who comes in like a new manager or whatever to someone's job, new CEO or whatever, they come in and they just do some shit as their first move. They make some big change because they need to get their hands on it, you know? And then they feel like now everything else that happens from here, I have ownership over, except the bad stuff. Because then if the business dies, they're like, oh, well, I came into a hard situation. Anyway, I have questions.
Go on.
All right. First and foremost, why does it look different with your pencil than it does when I'm using my just standard HB or number 2? What tools are you using, and how does that influence the marks you're able to make right now to work so quickly?
All right, this company needs to sponsor me. Like, first of all, I need to say this: I do not receive any kickback from them, though it's negligent on my behalf to continue recommending as much as I do. There is a coincidence. I think it's like one of these like found money things. Like, I don't think they meant to do what they did because I don't have that much belief in them as a company. Conte of Paris makes these graphite sticks. They're a different formula than any other graphite stick on the market. I've done side-by-side comparisons with the deepest possible values, the smudge quality and erasability. It is vastly superior in the Conte of Paris graphite stick. I shouldn't be telling you this because I don't know what their production is like, whether they're even still producing them. Whenever I find them at a shop online or in person, I just buy all of them because I don't know what the pipeline situation is because the company isn't interested in telling me. But they create like such a different game, like in terms of the textures and values that you can add. They genuinely changed the way that I draw. Like I found them like 3 years ago, and they kind of fueled a massive transition in terms of like how I draw now versus how I drew before I found them.
Okay.
So that's why it looks different, because it's massively different.
Have you been using the same tool throughout this entire piece so far?
I've been using mostly the Conte of Paris for the darkest darks, and then like an HB from Stadler for a lot of the halftone. So it's more or less that. And then like a variety of erasers and stuff for like, kind of different types of marks and things. Another thing, by the way, this is not even one of the 5 tips, but like just be a bit more adventurous, for like God's sake. Like, it's just a drawing. Like, you should get so used to failing that you don't fear anything on your paper,
Sure.
Because that's like, I think that's when you're probably like at your most creative, when you're not concerned about production,
All right. So for these other questions, strap in, because we said we're going to do a giveaway, so we got to get some of them in. All right, this person was asking, if drawing and art is a hobby, but we want to take it to the next level, would you suggest art school? Or do you believe it is possible to get knowledge just online and live in physical and in live physical art classes?
Art school is not a uniform thing, first of all. That just needs to be said. That like just going to art school is not a guarantee of anything depending upon the art school. But if you go to a good art school, what you will find is a community that pushes you, right? So if you're, I think to be an artist, like a lot of times you need to be a self-starter. You need to have that kind of innate engine that's going to kind of get you out of bed in the morning, get you in the studio and get you working, because like in general, the world's not very interested in you being an artist. I know that we're all supposed to be really touchy-feely and embracing our creative selves, but like most things in the world would prefer that you were like working at a bank or doing something more stable than engaging in artistic practice. So just consider that you need to have that, because if you get into one of these, art schools that's really good, what you'll find is like a healthy competitive environment. For myself, I know that I'm somebody who I mean, certainly in my student days, I think now maybe I would say like I skew a little bit different on this, but in my student days, I know that like whatever the median value of the studio is, I would never be there. I'd always work harder than that. Now, not to say that I wouldn't work hard if other people weren't there working hard, just to say like an incredibly hardworking environment, if you're the type of person who like benchmarks in that way, will push you to reach more of your potential than doing it alone generally will. It is for the fortunate few, because there's not a lot, like a ton of like really great art schools just hanging around. So in a lot of ways, like you need to like go to a place to kind of find one, unless you're lucky enough to like live in Old Lyme, Connecticut, or Florence or something like that.
This is Florence, Michigan, right?
Italy. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a Florence, Michigan. All right. So another question here is, when I'm doing my lessons, I feel like I'm just following other people's epiphanies on art. How do you work towards your own epiphanies and trusting your own moves?
I thought we were talking bad questions.
Well, they're trying to get a course. If you want some more Takis questions, I'll give them to you.
Okay. Right. All right. We're going to do... let's re-skew the results here. We're going to do one course for the good questions, one course for the worst questions. I want to hear some bad questions.
All right.
So the most creative bad question that gets the biggest cringe out of me, that's also a course. I think that these things are not accidental at all. But if there was something I wanted to point to that I feel like people don't do enough of, that they need to do more of, that would solve, or not solve, but like, let's say speak to exactly this issue, it would be that when you're self-critiquing, like you need to also and very seriously consider what you like in your drawing, not just what needs to improve, not just what went wrong. You need to like look for the things that you do that like motivate you and that you really enjoy, because you need to then populate your work with more of them. And if you never assess and analyze through that, what you're going to wind up doing is drawing effectively like, well, you're going to be training without style, without that as an outlet, as a like a possible like idea in your creative workflow. I think style is like a really big deal, and it needs to be kind of like treated that way seriously as you're self-educating or being educated anywhere.
The other question I just wanted to get from you in here.
Yeah.
What's that eraser? Well, actually, you have two erasers, but what's the one eraser I'm asking about?
Well, I haven't used it. Did I use this one?
Oh, not that one. Damn, I forgot about that one. Oh, shit. No, I meant the Mono Zero.
Right. No, the Mono Zero is the like these came around like in art studios around like probably 2000 and let's say I moved to Sweden in 2010. So yeah, like somewhere around like 2012, he started like showing up in like art studios and things. That's when like a student first showed me one, and I was like, I'm in love. This is the erasing tool I've always wanted but never known I needed, you know, like that kind of situation. But it's basically just like a pencil that's an eraser instead, and it gives you like a far better. Let's not say far better, but like there's a different kind of control with it, right? Like it lets you kind of do different things. This is kind of what materials do in general, is that they open up new pathways, new possibilities that like other materials don't allow for. You know, it's just like you know, finding a graphite grade that like goes darker than other graphite grades. It just lets you do more stuff. You know, it doesn't make a better drawing for you, but like it definitely gives you a tool that you can't get in another way. So that mono zero erase is a big one for me. And then you know about the we've already been through in the last Proko stream, the formoplast question, which is this weird Russian. It's like a half eraser. It's not really an eraser, but they use it like an eraser. It kind of smudges and makes weird marks and stuff. At least that's what I use it for, and I love it. I think it's fantastic.
Right now, there are definitely some people who were here from that last stream, and I'm so happy about it, because we got it called the nuclear waste eraser, and they said not the Loganov deathly secret components eraser. They were here for that conversation. That's great.
Yep, that's legit. That is legit.
So okay, all right. Maybe this works with the last one. This is a bad question. This was, what art supply would taste best if it was edible? Is it that nuclear waste eraser?
Oh man, be like a marmalade flavor or something, like a bitter orange marmalade flavor. Definitely formoplast. Yeah, for sure. The rest of it is pencil. You got wood, you got graphite. You don't want to eat any of that. Nope, formoplast. Also, the texture of it would be like, it's like a really chewy gummy bear or something, which I normally don't like, but in this case, the toxicity of it would like change that for me.
Ooh, you like a dark relationship then. You like a crazy lady.
Well, like there's no, but there's this like, so you know, in Rome, like in Italy, you know, everybody has gelato, right? It's like Italian ice cream, but it's made with milk rather than cream. So it's patently it's not ice cream. But they make sometimes like flavors that are, I think they're less Italian, more American. Like they have a mint flavor, right? Like mint and chocolate. You know that in America, Breyers makes like a mint chocolate chip, which I remember from my childhood is this really like particular flavor that I loved. And so here you can go to a place like there's a gelateria near me called Fata Morgana, and they're like, they do all like really natural. Everything is like, we grew the strawberry ourselves. You know, that kind of thing. And they make a mint gelato, and it's like way too natural. And there's like one in the touristic area over by the Colosseum that makes like the most toxic toothpaste menta gelato. And that's the one I go for. So I do have at times a very base taste to my appreciation of things. Yeah, especially when it comes to mint ice cream.
I feel this specifically with ice cream. Yeah. For this one with ice cream, I feel you. Sometimes I want something that's a little more hoity-toity, you know. But then I also have the standing idea, the standing rule that I decided for myself sometime during the pandemic, where I decided if anything was like birthday cake or like sparkle unicorn flavored, like that's the thing that they write on the package, the chances of me buying it goes up by like 65%.
Wow.
I just set this personal rule. Yeah.
This is how I am with like graphite supplies. Like if I walk into an art supply store and I see a graphite supply that I don't have, it could be the dumbest looking thing on planet Earth. I'm buying it. Actually, that's how I found the Conti sticks. I just saw them. Usually I don't like graphite sticks. Like I'm kind of like, they're a bit too blunt. They don't do most of the stuff I want to do, but they're just the wrong ones. I found the right one, changed everything. You know, it's like finding love in your life, you know? The right person makes an enormous difference.
Absolutely. All right. So another question that we have here, actually, at some point we do need to go to points, either dig in on 3 or go to 4. Do you want to do that now or
All
get
right.
a question?
Let me just hit you with 4 really quick and we'll do another question.
Okay.
Accuracy and precision are different things. I say this, art students, please hear me, right? Coming in to a drawing education, I think art students focus or over-index on precision, meaning they're drawing a photograph, they believe that coming to the right likeness is a matter of getting a pixel for pixel representation of what's there. No great drawing that you love in art history is that. I promise. There is, however, a bigger idea, a different idea that's not precision, and that is what accuracy actually is. Accuracy is much more like truth than it is like precision, right? It's capturing the spirit of the thing, and this is where I think artists really need to focus their attention. You learn that you can measure, and like I remember this distinctly when I was a student, you learn that you can measure, and so you think precision is more controllable than truth or accuracy. But you have to fight through that, because ultimately the work that you want to make, I promise you, it's not the precise work. It's the accurate work. It's the true work.
I think you said in your note on this, you said a drawing can be precise but inaccurate, or accurate but imprecise. There
you go. Figure that out. I'm dropping Yoda-like tips here.
Another question that's come up in a couple different ways in the chat is your change in style. Someone asked why your drawing now looks different than the art in your book, and some people asked if the materials changed your drawing style.
I had a stroke.
Okay, that'll do that. I think it's miraculous to see you use both sides of your body.
So dark. Why did I even say that? Like, that's not even a cool thing to say. Listen. No. It's
you had a stroke of inspiration.
A stroke of genius. No, I didn't have that. But I had. I think that all of us do this, right? And like the fact that you write a book is probably the unique thing. Like, not every artist kind of writes a book. So when you write a book, people have the capacity or the right to then ask you, well, hey, what about all the stuff in the book? All the stuff in the book, I think, is still deeply true for a student. It's still in a lot of ways deeply true for me. But like, as an artist, you never stop at a place. I think in the intro to the book, the thing that I said was like, these are the things that I found most effective when I was going through my own, like, kind of the start of my journey as an artist. And I think that that's what that book is there for. I think it's to get you to competency. I think it's to get you to a place where you, I think, understand a little bit of what the educational process is like and the things that you're likely to encounter, explained in a way that I think is understandable, right? And it's not that they're necessarily new ideas, but I don't think that's actually the requirement certainly in media or in writing a book. Like, one of the books I really love is James Clear's Atomic Habits. And like, everybody's read that. Like, everybody on planet Earth has read Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits is actually not full of original ideas. It's a synthesis of existing ideas that have been around for ages, said in different ways by different people. But you know what James Clear is great at? Communication, right? He synopsizes and clarifies, gives you examples of exactly how a thing works, right? This is the strength of Atomic Habits, and this is what I wanted the art of portraiture to be. I wanted to lay out a kind of a roadmap for like what it would be like to find out the things that you need to know about portraiture to become not only proficient, but like to embrace it like as an artistic pursuit.
Yeah, I think the idea that I don't think anyone was making a value judgment past those ideas of what's supposed to be in art. Like that value structure judgment, but to make a value judgment on whether what you did before or did now is better, I think that you think that there is still something valid in each of those, and it's a worthwhile exercise to learn from both Stephen Bauman a few years ago and Stephen Bauman now. Like, both of those guys have different things to say.
Yeah. And I think that, the other thing that's cool about like kind of making kind of media products and like, I mean, for whatever we want to call it, like art classes or kind of a media product, is that you work really hard to make the best synopsis you can, but like also so you can move on. Like, I feel like I've said my piece about those things, and I don't know that there's like a tremendous amount of merit in me like going back and like flogging this horse until it's like completely dead. I think Bargs have something cool to say, for artists, and I've made courses about that. I think that cast drawing, has cool things to say about being, training a young artist, and they were pivotal for me. But it doesn't mean I need to do it for forever. Thank God I don't have to do it forever. I mean, come on, what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Can I ask you a question then? So
Yeah.
for you as a person who you think that you have said all that you need to say on that subject in the past, you are still talking about wanting to teach painting in the future, though you don't want to actively participate in painting in your off time.
Well, this is like a slight oversimplification. It's that I think, by the way, is my audio still okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay. I think that just my primary artistic vehicle, I think is actually drawing. Like, and it's taken me a long time to like, kind of just say, yeah, like that's kind of how I feel. When I feel like expressing something more often than not, I feel like expressing it in graphite, the stark kind of, simplicity of it, something that really like appeals to me. So like painting for me, like the shape that it takes eventually is like, so I love like really big epic paintings. There's an artist called Giulio Aristide. Actually, if I try to do the Italian pronunciation, I'm not that good at it. But Giulio Aristide Sartorio. And he made these like absolutely amazing, like kind of monumental paintings. One was on was a commission by the Italian government. It's in the Parliament House here in Rome. That's about like the formation of the Italian state, right? It's really kind of enormous topic. And yeah, I mean, sure, like it's the formation of a state. So let's not say it's like too romantic, but nonetheless, it's like this really big topic. And I think things like that, like, storytelling like that enchants me. Like making another head study in oil paint, I'm not saying I won't do it, but like, that's not really where I feel like my creativity in paint is pointing towards. So like, that I painted for a bunch of years with my buddy, Steve Forster, right? Like we make paintings together. We work on the compositions, and then eventually like we both work on the same canvases together.
Correct me if I'm wrong. People can see you talk to Steve Forster on your YouTube channel.
Oh man, this is the show, baby. Yeah, I'm too excited about it. It's called Icons. It's like a show that I do like on my YouTube channel, and it's Steve and I like talking shop, but also talking like cultural touchstones. There's like so many. Why it all started? I'm a digression machine. Why did it all start? First of all, that's why it all started. The other way it all started is that like I feel like art loses touch with people's lives. It tends to speak, especially in realism, about really like esoteric things. And I by esoteric, it's a 10-cent word, just shit that nobody thinks about, right? Like nobody like generally talks about. So these like, these very ethereal topics about beauty and this, and, like all these things that are like, just don't feel like they have their feet on the ground. And like, it needs to do that. Like in some ways, like as artists, it's not your job to like be in touch with everybody. But like, I also think that there's a way to kind of, I'm a yes and kind of guy. I'm like a both and rather than the either or. So I just feel like there was a way to like be an artist, be a representational artist, and also like be current and present and like talk about things that I think we all are like pretty passionate about. Like I love music, right? Like absolutely adore it. But there's like not a lot of ways in my career to like professionally like interact with that space unless I make one, right? So like the first episode we did on icons was like one of my favorite musicians, Michael Now. So we make a portrait of Michael Now, like he makes an oil painting, I make a drawing. And then like we just kind of talk about the significance of this guy's artwork. And it's like the fucking coolest thing on earth. Is like I get to hang out with my best friend. I get to engage in the activity that I think is like most meaningful, artistically, just making these portraits that I've made for so many years. And then talk about art that I think is like deeply significant and kind of share that with a community of people that I know are going to like also appreciate it. So it's a really cool show. Because it's on YouTube and it's super long form, I know the view counts are going to be low. So like the average view count on my channel is, like 20, 30,000 or whatever. I know they're going to net like 3,000 views, but we're doing it anyway. I think it's just too cool not to do.
And you don't have any reason to put that on a separate channel? You want to just keep it there alongside the other stuff?
I think everybody goes like separate channel, but then it's like, I'm not sure that's like the best thing for it. As I don't know that it necessarily, I don't think it hurts I mean, you guys at Proko would know better, but I don't think it necessarily like hurts my channel by being kind of low traction.
I think that, so I would have agreed with you before. I think now we've seen so many creators who do a different type of content make a sub channel that is more personally branded, and it's meant to be a smattering of things that are relevant to their personal interest that's separate from like the main vehicle. I think that market research has basically been done by all those people, and it's been shown that having a channel that would just be called like Stephen Bauman instead of Stephen Bauman artwork, where you post that loose conglomeration of things that you do, might be a good idea.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it might migrate its way over there. For now, it's on the main feed.
With this name here that I have on screen right now.
Look at this guy, Icons, baby. Oh yeah, Stephen Bauman artwork on YouTube. I thought you had the. I was like, how did you get the Icons logo? Yeah, Stephen Bauman artwork on YouTube. Stephen Bauman artwork on Instagram. Stephen Bauman artwork on Patreon, baby. You can find me there. That's what my tribe, my people on Patreon.
Yeah. So I do have other questions if you want them.
Come on.
All right. So 2 questions, one short one long one. Sebastian Figueroa asked, what's your favorite pencil? 2B or not 2B? And then they said sorry.
Oh, wow. This guy's a contender. This guy is a contender.
All right. And we have a comment that I thought might be interesting to have you address. That's not a question. So this was Jose saying, in today's world, to be good like you, one needs money. If no money, then one needs to be homeless to reach that level of mastery.
Yeah. There is always an eating shit period in a career. Like anybody that you see that's like really successful, especially in a creative space, they spend some time eating shit and getting good. I don't know that there's like really a way around it. And I'm not saying you have to be poor, like, or you need to, mythologize like the idea of like not having cash or like being broke or whatever. Maybe that makes it more comfortable to do while you're that way. But it's because it's kind of a functional thing more so than anything, right? That if you don't have money and you spend your time in the pursuit of money, that is going to be time that you can't spend in pursuit of getting really good at the thing you're doing. So there is a moment where you kind of need to like sacrifice that part in order to like make space for the getting really good thing. I would love to say there's like another way, but like I almost feel it's kind of like the thing that people say about real estate, right? Like we talk to people that are really into real estate, and you're like, what do I do? How do I invest? How do I get it on the ground floor? And like the thing that you hear over and over is like, beg money from your family, beg money from your friends. Like do anything you can to get the initial capital investment. After that, like obviously there's a lot of other things that you got to do, but like you cannot start without that thing. And like I think that thing for artists is you cannot start without time. So you need, and like usually the thing that you're trading your time for most is cash.
Yeah, I would agree. The only thing that I would say in any sort of pushback is that there are so many free resources now. You don't have to learn out of a book and reverse engineer what the stroke looked like as a person laid it down. You're sitting here watching a person, and even if we are also talking about talkies and other stuff like that, you're still seeing a person work on this, those resources, I'm not saying I would be better if those things were available to me. My passion doesn't lie in making art to a high degree. I make it as a person to communicate an idea. But there's so many resources for you online now. It does not require the same kind of monetary investment that it used to. The supplies are a thing that you can't get around. The time is a thing that you can't get around. But it is functionally less expensive in some regard to become an artist than it used to be. That being said, there's less of a market for selling some art than there was at the time when it was harder to learn just off of free resources. So you find the balance in that you will. So
yeah, that's a really good point. Really kind of interesting kind of, thing to talk about too. Like there is this kind of inflection point where it's like there's availability and then there's like, again, like your own availability. And I think a lot of people wind up against their own kind of availability. And then their own kind of will to do it. But there's, we're simplifying it, of course, to talk about it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like other factors. I think one of the biggest ones actually, and this is like, it's kind of hard to say probably to a group of students out there, but it's that like art advice is not monolithic. There's so many people that
unpack what that means. Unpack what that means.
There's so many people that I've encountered that have like studied at XYZ art school, right? Like they went to the blah, blah, blah atelier of realism. And there's like this authoritative sense that like you go to an atelier that's that serious, they're the truth. And they'll train you in this way that's like, oh, you know what, you do 40 hours on your bark drawings and then, you do 75 hours on your figure drawings. And people like go through that and they're like, oh, maybe this just isn't my thing, because this doesn't like appeal to me. This doesn't seem like it's my path. What you kind of have to understand is that there's like multiple kind of ways to kind of get to where you want to go, and you can find the wrong one for you. Like it's possible to do. Like I'm sorry to say, because it's going to make everybody like really cautious. Like, oh, how do I, go out there and experience things. I'm not saying like it's something to avoid, disparate advices, but just try to like kind of take it with a grain of salt and understand, there is a path out there that can fit for you. Like, even if the one that's right in front of you doesn't seem to. Like, I just saw a lot of people at the Florence Academy, and which is a good school. Like, it's not even a qualitative statement about them. That just they didn't fit that particular culture. That wasn't where they were at, and they just needed to be at a different school. Like, it wasn't the Florence Academy didn't need to change to suit them better, and they didn't need to change themselves to fit the Florence Academy. It just wasn't a fit, and that's fine.
Yeah, it's like if someone's like, I don't like spaghetti, so spaghetti you should burn in hell. Like, no, it's fine. It's fine.
No,
maybe you're
just over there,
and
then you don't go and eat it. That's fine.
Yeah, you get something else. Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are other questions that I've got here. This is a person asking, how do you decide when and where to use lost edges, soft edges, and hard edges?
I mean, it's a formulaic way to do it, and I think for a long time I was maybe enthusiastic about the idea that that these things kind of presented themselves as opportunities when you observed appropriately, right? So, like, let's say that you look at this passage around the eye here, and you squint down, and then the value of the hair back here and the value of the upper eyelid here is kind of a confluence in between them. That's an opportunity to lose an edge. And so maybe you take that opportunity to do it. I think, though, there's like kind of two sides to this. One is that that's true. The other is that I don't think you should take your hands like off the creative wheel like that and just say, I will do it when the opportunity presents itself and not otherwise. Because then you're kind of like, in some ways, you're kind of acting like a photorealist, I think, at that point, where you're just saying like, I don't care what I think. it's what the machine says, kind of, it's what the facts in front of me simply dictate to my process. And I think frankly, a lot of artists hide behind that. A lot of representational artists kind of hide behind that. And I mean, well, it's students too. It's like the thing that you hear most from students which is the thing that you'd like to hear least from students is, oh, but it was like that. Well, I don't care. Like, it doesn't look good. You think like Michelangelo's out here chipping away. It's how it looked. He looked like that. No,
his elbow's kind of borked up, so I got to make his elbow.
Like,
yeah.
yeah. Like it's not. John Paul the 100th doesn't want to hear that. The elbow looked funny, so I made it like that. Like, your job as an artist is like tell the story. So like just get on board and like make the choices where you need to. And obviously there's a balance in that, making choices willy-nilly without any consideration for what's actually happening in the image, I think is also like a bad move. But I don't live in like kind of a black and white world. I feel like there's like a lot of shades of gray, and you need to be like clever, and you need to be like switched on. I think if anything, I hate like kind of set it and forget it rules in drawing. It's just like, I've never been in front of a drawing like just creatively falling asleep and like made a good drawing. Like, it doesn't work like that. You need to be switched on. And that means being like awake to all of your responsibilities.
I think you can tell when someone has gone on autopilot in a piece. And it can be inside of a piece that if you're seeing them work on the thing, where they come out the other side having made something good, you can still see the parts where they go on autopilot and then they have to either correct those things or they just make the start of the show something else. That is very evident. So let's see here. Humblebee Art Studio asked, how deep should an artist think about strokes that they make? What advice would you give to those who overthink their art, and how to avoid chasing perfection?
Wow. Yeah. That's really cool. Because I mean, it's kind of like there's so many advices that like become hard to give because there's like an equal opposite truth, but maybe some of it's like in how you frame it, because you're saying, how much do you think about your strokes? And then simultaneously you're saying, how do you avoid overthinking? Well, like, I think that there is like an appropriate amount to think about your strokes. I think you should like meditate deeply about, well, you know what? Point number 5, people.
All right.
You want to be effective and efficient in drawing, choose a shape language, right? So the marks that you make, right, are more than just a thing that renders. They're also like a signature that communicates, right? So if I think I've done this on streams with you guys before, but like if you make 2 different kinds of lines, right? If I make a line like, oh, Steven, you're gonna be my guinea pig here, right? So if I make 2 lines, you can see both of these on the screen, right? Free association.
I can tell you which one's Booba. Well, my immediate thought is one is Booba and one is Kiki because of that thought idea. But
give me some adjectives that will describe this line.
Curly, twisty, flowing.
No, these are things that it actually is. Psychological adjectives. Feelings.
Bouncy? Is that bouncy? Too close to the actual thing?
No, bouncy's fine. Give me some more. Get dancing, feelings. Use your heart.
Dancing.
Dancing.
Musical.
Would you say it's happy, sad, bummed out, pissed off? What is it?
I mean, if we're going for emotion, it's going to feel happier than the other one, but I don't think that is true.
Hold on. Give me some adjectives, some free associative adjectives that describe this one.
All right. So if we're going with this one is angry, this one is loud, this one is abrasive.
Okay. Now, you can disagree with that across the planet, but what you cannot disagree with is that this and this have different associations. If you think this is the happy one, then that's not also happy, right? Within the 99.99 percentile, all right, Joe from frickin' Montana, I know that you feel that they're the same, fine. But the rest of us are going to be convinced that they're quite different from each other. And this is why shape language is a thing, right? This is why colors are a thing. Like, you look at red and you look at green, and they have like different associations that go along with them. So when you're making your artwork, right, do not go to sleep on the fact that how you make the marks is a part of the communication. What kind of artwork do I like, Stephen? What do I like my artwork to say? Look at this and answer the question, what emotional tone do I want to set in my artwork?
I think that you like something something beautiful that also is abrasive, for whatever that means in this context.
Yes. I think, I like to think of excitement. I like to think of dynamism. I like to think of something that shakes and moves and kind of like keeps you noticing it. Like those are the associations that I like want to have to my work. Now, conversely, right, Bouguereau, don't ask him for that. He doesn't have it. He's after you feeling like calm, relaxed, and like placid, like a still lake on a beautiful sort of winter day. Like this is Bouguereau. This is what he's there. He's born to give you that, right? But like he chooses a shape and color language that produces that effect. So how much should you meditate on the marks that you make? It's most of what your artwork is, or if not, at least the communication vehicle for it is the marks that you make. And if you don't meditate on what they're supposed to be like, you're going to be on, as you said, Stephen, autopilot, right? Which is the enemy of expression.
Yeah, truly. Yeah, I think if you never interrogate the marks that you've put on the page, there's going to be things that you say unintentionally and that you don't say when you're trying to say those intentionally. I think it's a problem.
This is a big thing. By the way, it wouldn't be a live stream on what's the sale period? Is it Black Saturday? Like
this is
Blue Tuesday?
This is a summer sale for this one. This goes until the 4th of next
summer
month.
Sale.
Or the 5th.
So this wouldn't be a summer sale stream if I didn't mention it. I did a whole course on exactly these things, like how to learn style. Not like how to accidentally stumble upon it, but like how to study style in a laboratory and figure out like how it works and the things that you need to do to like assign yourself the style that you really want.
I'm showing that on screen here right now.
Look at this guy.
Look at
this guy.
So in this course, there will be a full portrait workflow analysis across multiple projects, master study demonstrations with step-by-step commentary, style comparison studies that train you to see the differences with precision, and practical exercises that build awareness rather than accumulate tricks. That's the stuff that we're talking about here. The idea of...
And I do bleep the curse words in the course.
So we do have to pay
extra. It's actually the only course I've ever made that contains bleeped curse words.
Interesting choice. But yeah, so I hope that those things are helpful. Someone in the chat here saying, thank you. I just bought Stephen's book. It's fantastic. I agree.
Yeah, that was a labor of love, man. Let me tell you. Books are but books are like it's an incredible undertaking. I thought I always wanted to do it. And I did. Like, I'm really proud and like really happy to have done it. And I'll probably do it again. But it's one of those things. It's one of the most like kind of taxing things to do.
It's definitely a lot. We're still figuring stuff out on our end for our Kickstarter for the fulfillment. There's some more books that are going out this week. But yeah, we chose to do the stuff like entirely in-house in some ways that I think we would not do next time. The classic where a person does a Kickstarter and they suddenly realize, wait, actually I should maybe just work with someone who does this professionally. So,
well, yeah, like you get like the reason I worked with a publisher was fulfillment. Like I just knew I wasn't going to like quit all my other jobs. So like, I also wasn't going to take on the job of like being Amazon, you know what I mean? Like I've seen like a lot of, media types do that where they're like, I just got to deliver 50,000 books in my living room. It's like,
yeah, that's actually, if you walk out into the office here, that's what you will see. I was here the past 2 weekends boxing stuff up to ship out. It is a deal.
Yeah.
Well,
Stan's got incredible people working for him, so.
Yeah, he's got a good chunk of them. I hope to most days be one of the ones that can be considered good. So we've got another one here. This is one of the. It's ostensibly a bad question, but I think is actually interesting. If you were an art supply, which one would you be?
If I were an art supply, I really like that one. There's no cringe effect there. This person should be rewarded in some way for coming up with a cool, thoughtful question. But it's neither the worst question nor the best question. But it has an interesting character and quality to it. If I were an art supply, Stephen, why don't you start us out? What would you be?
I'm torn.
I'll come in.
Yeah, so I'm torn between two different ideas here. One is I think I would be just like a solid, medium quality Bristol board, a material that you can use for a whole lot of things. That isn't the thing that you pay a lot of money for, but it's super reliable. You can use it for a lot of stuff. But if you really want the best quality, you should go for a nicer one. That's me.
You're looking for performance. You need to go somewhere.
Yeah, I'm the cost to quality mid-range that you can apply to
a bunch of
different tasks. Yeah,
mid-range is huge. Yeah. No, that's
and
solid.
Then the other thing for a digital thing is I am Shift Control Z. That's redo. I'm the button that you push when you go to undo a mark that you made and you actually think that the mark that you made was actually pretty good. I'm that one. I'm redo, not undo.
Is that like a negative? I can't decide whether I think that's a negative or positive quality. Where are we landing on that?
I think this is a positive quality. I think it's the one that you, the mark that you assume was initially bad because you've been making so many bad marks, but once you undo it, you go, actually, that was pretty good. I think I want that back.
You're going back for it. You're rethinking your initial judgment.
Yeah. Also, I'm proud to say that I own Shift Control Z as a URL. So,
do you actually?
I do.
Wow. Sell it for $1 billion, bro. Like, what are you kidding me? Like, there's an economy in that.
Yeah, I own Shift Control Z for digital art because I have some different endeavors that I'm looking to put on that website.
Very cool.
Yeah. And for you, did you decide what tools you are?
If I'm an art supply, I think I'm the paper, you know? Like,
okay.
I'm just a blank space. Like, I'm filled with the potential to like be filled with things. I think that's always been like my character, is that like I don't have a bottom. You know what I mean? Like I just want to keep getting filled with kind of new knowledge, new information, new challenges, new experiences. Like I don't run out of that enthusiasm. So that's me. I'm the paper, baby. Stonehenge.
I want to add Stonehenge paper. I have a question about this. Do you think that you are like a fully blank sheet of paper, or do you think that you're one that's been seasoned just a touch?
I think I'm warm white. That's me.
Okay. What question here was, is coffee an art supply? Absolutely.
Woo!
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
All right. This is a different question as well. They ask, Stephen, how do you deal with an unhappy customer? Like if they aren't happy with a portrait you made of them or a loved one. Have you ever had a person who was unhappy with a work that you made on commission for them?
Well, first you need to like understand the psychology of people who commission work, like properly commission. I mean, friends and family maybe is a little bit different. But my overwhelming experience has been that the commissioner of the artwork, in some small way, needs to be a part of the artistic process. So like I would come back with a drawing that I knew like just empirically speaking is right. It is both accurate and precise a lot of times, because when you're doing a commission, I mean, the truth is like people that commission also over-index on precision. So you need to be able to like hit that tone when need dictates for commissioned artwork, not for other things. But in any event, they always want to have like feedback. So I kind of bake in the whole like feedback round into my price, my price. So actually, like if you commission me for a portrait, it would be significantly more expensive than it would be to just buy one of my portraits.
Do you actually call this like I think the technical one that most people would use in something that's typically less time intensive would be revision passes. Like basically they can give you notes like twice. Do you have that baked into your contracts?
I've never, because of the way I kind of structure the delivery, I've never had like an overwhelming amount of like what did you call them? The
Revision passes?
revision passes. Like what I do is usually like a quarter, like so I'll do a thumbnail composition, or actually even before that, like because it's usually from source images, like we'll agree together on a source image that we think is good, and I'll push back. It's not like I just let them choose whatever it is. I'll say like, yeah, well, I think I see what you're saying, but I think maybe the better picture is the one where they're not grinning ear to ear, because X, Y, and Z. But you choose it together, so already they have like a feeling of kind of investment in the picture. Then, like once we've chosen the picture, I do a composition study. Like a little thumbnail sketch, and then I kind of run that by them, and they also have the possibility to like look at that and go, oh, that's interesting, or I hate that. I mean, to be fair, like they never really say they hate that, but they have the chance to do it. Like they could just go like, hey, this is fucking way off. Like I'm not into it. I don't want it like that. So like, and I do this like 3 or 4 times throughout the process. I make it sound very laborious. It doesn't take any more time. I just take a photograph. A decent photograph. I send it to them and they go, oh, great, let's keep going. And then by the time I've delivered, they've already agreed like, several times throughout the process. So it's not like they're coming to this end where they're going like, oh, wait a minute. Nothing here is what I thought it would be. It's exactly what you thought it would be because we worked on it together. And so they will have like things to say like, oh, I'm not sure if, and it always sounds kind of funny because I don't really know how to like talk about it in artistic terms, and you got to get used to that. But they'll say like, oh, like they look a little bit sad, but like some of that is also down to like, what's the value scale in your painting? You know what I mean? Like, or your drawing. There's things that kind of communicate sadness. There's shape language. There's all sorts of things that you can do to adjust. You need to know it technically so you can kind of communicate with them emotionally.
I think it's a good point.
So like what happens when I mean, I've never really delivered one that like people didn't like, and it's not because I'm super cool, it's just because I'm super communicative.
Fair. I think that also speaks to the process that you teach for making art in general, where you want people to set themselves up for success and make those corrections along the way rather than having to do some nuclear reversal later.
Yeah. I mean, the worst thing you can do is like, deliver it and it's the first time they see it. Like anybody's going to be like shocked by that, And I mean, there's a low instance of people that will be shocked positively. You know what I'm saying? Like even if it's good, like that initial shockwave, like I think a lot of people like respond to things, in a rote sense. Like, if you're a super happy person, like you tend to respond to new experiences happily. If you're a very negative person, you respond to them negatively. So, like it's worth stating that the psychology of your clients is should be taken into consideration, like in terms of like how you expect to kind of deal with them and what their experience should be like. Because ideally, like, just because somebody commissions or buys like one artwork, let me tell you, this is like a person who's been in business a while. That ain't the only artwork they can buy. Like a lot of people own multiple drawings by me. They've got several like across their house or their collection or whatever. So like that kind of customer care element, I think, is massively important for artists. Like make it fun, make it cool, make it easy, for the people to kind of, that want to collect your work to find it and enjoy it. Yeah.
And I mean, that applies to anything that you're selling ever.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. There was a situation, to kind of speak to this question, where someone took a really long time to deliver a commission piece to somebody. And in the time that it took them, and I'm talking about a period of years, in the time that it took them to deliver that piece, their style had changed. And so they clearly had done this work much later after they had moved on from the style that the commissioner had hired them for.
Oh, wow. That's so tough.
Yeah. And so they tried to do it more in that style, I think, because they understood that. But they were fighting with themselves stylistically in this like spiritual art fight against themselves to make the work that had been commissioned from them years prior.
Yeah.
And so I think
Yeah.
that's one of the most interesting times about seeing a commissioned work not be loved that I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's funny that I actually had exactly the situation, because there's a woman in the UK who, and I'm lucky enough that like the commissions that I take, like I get to be kind of really choosy about them. It's not really my primary job to be a commission artist.
Mhm.
But her idea was that she wanted me to like draw, she's two kids, wanted me to draw them like once every like 2 years for like 10 years.
Interesting.
So you could like kind of have these portraits that are like her children kind of growing up. And you obviously see where this is going, that like I've gone through this heavy metal meltdown, where like I'm like kind of changing my artistic voice. So it came the time to like make the next round of portraits. And I just relied on communication. I emailed it and I said, can we have a Zoom call and just, and talk, and I'll just tell you before we start to engage in this, like kind of what's going on and like where I'm at artistically. And, to be fair, like I did make them much more in like the controlled previous voice, but there was also like, I needed to be able to enjoy it. And I think maybe this is a thing to like take away for people like that want to work on commissions, is like, you gotta enjoy it, because you're not going to perform well if you don't. Like, there's no version of like taking a commission where you're like, this fucking sucks and you do a great job. Like that's not how it works,
Yeah. This to say the same answer I said before, basically. That applies to everything. If I'm supposed to edit a video for somebody or do something else, if I took it purely for the money, chances are that edit's going to blow. Like this, it's not going to have any sauce to it. It's not going to be a good time for me or that person. Like, if you're going to do something for money, still try to do it in a way that can be enjoyed by both you and the person that you're delivering whatever.
And this is exactly the way to put it, because you got to look at it on the other side and say, like, it is also your job as an artist to find the thing to be inspired by. Like,
absolutely.
If you can't find it, I mean, look here first. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just the problem of the commission, or just the problem of the. It's like, working at the academy, like you'd always have like the days where everybody would choose a pose. You'd set up a long pose of a model, like a nude model, and then there's like 16 of you in a model room in a semicircle, and then you have this like picking order where everybody like picks their spots. So like naturally, there's a spot that you want to get because you think it's really cool, but you might not get it. And so there's a lot of like complaining about, oh, this is a bad spot and that. And like, it's the first thing you got to get over, is like complaining ain't going to change it. You're here, like you're traveling across the world, paying a bunch of money to like study the school to complain about the spot you get. No, like there's a way to make a cool painting out of it, and you just have to find it. Like that's part of the education.
Agreed. Yeah, I like if you were just given a thing, this piece right here, like it's kind of like what you were saying earlier about choosing where the detail is going to go. Like you find the thing that is visually inspiring for you and work on that thing.
There you go.
We had
that's how you're
question.
going to do your best work. Yeah, go on.
Absolutely. So we have a question that's a little more foundational one. This is, how do I build my confidence with values of a drawing? Is there a technique that will help me to trust the process?
Like adding values or evaluating values?
I think that one. So making good looking value structures, and probably as an extension of that, seeing values.
With anything that you're going to do, there's a bit of fuck around, find out. So there's not really a way around like not the missteps, but let's say like there's not a way around the learning process. That being said, like there are ways to like observe value more effectively than others. But it's funny because I kind of have like, in some ways, I feel like I have like too much knowledge sometimes. That sounds so bad, but like I've just learned and experienced too many things to feel too confident about saying, oh, this is the way. Because there is a very photographic way that you can study value. Do I ultimately think that that's like a good thing? Well, I don't know. I mean, I kind of studied it that way for a while. And, you know, I ended up doing okay, but it's also something I struggled a lot to unlearn. So if you want to like study value in like an easy and photographic way, it's simply a matter of deciding on what is the darkest dark and what is the lightest light. Every other value needs to be somewhere in between those two. And if you're trying to consider what value the next should be here, it's a good idea to look at the lightest light in comparison to it, right? And say, well, it's not white, is it? Now, why don't I like this? Because it dictates to you, in a sense, what that has to be. Now, I might think actually that I want that to be white. That might be the most useful thing to me, and I think I could make a decent justification for that. I kind of feel like use value where you need it, not where like it happens to be. So you can do, but that's not to say like you need to get married to a philosophy. You can do exercises in both ways. Like you can study value empirically like this and copy value empirically like this rather than interpreting value. That's fine. That's like on the menu. No problem with that, right? But just understand that's like not where the path ends, you know? It would be the same, of course, with the darkest dark. And you would look at the darkest dark and you would say, you know, the shadow on the side of the head here is lighter than that darkest dark. So now I have my polar opposites, my lightest light, my darkest dark, and I can find out what this mid-tone is, more or less in the middle.
Mm-hmm. I would say you have videos about this that came from your block-in course, which whether that is a thing that's on our channel, which I do know exists, or on your channel, which I'm less familiar with the entirety of the videos that you have, but you have absolutely tackled this in one of the free videos you have available. Or if a person's looking for it, Proko.com/Bauman has courses like the block-in course that is inherently going to teach you about this for 20% off right now on Proko.com.
Booyah.
Boom. One question I had.
Yeah, like, sorry, just to say, like values are like a very conquerable thing. You know, then just consider, you know, that learning to use them then means like you have a tool that you can use, and like fun, cool shit can happen about that. You don't have to just subject yourself to like copying values all the time.
Yeah. One thing that I've always really liked is when someone chooses to just take the lightest light, regardless of what it is, and just blow it out entirely. I love that look so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just put all the detail in the midtones.
You get into this stuff like long enough and you start to like get weird about it. You're like, what if I darken like to the whole forehead, and like you know, and like what if it isn't the lightest light? You know, what does that do to the picture? Like what does that do to the story if I kind of like take that out of the equation, right? Now that means I would probably have to like darken down the values, say like out here.
And that's just to still give it believable form and have the value relationship.
Exactly. Now the forehead still like stands out, right? But the like the lightest light is kind of missing from it. But it's still like a predominant like part of that light shape. So like you can't, like these things are like so interpretable, you know, like you have like so much freedom if you kind of understand, you know, the basics of like how values work, you know?
Yeah, I think getting to push and pull and play with them, simplify in some areas, compress some chunks of the value range. It's such an interesting thing to see happen. Now, I was curious. I'm sure that we will do this at the very end, but we are viewing this from the side right now.
Ah, right. Yeah. So he looks really skinny.
Yeah. Could we see it just kind of like angled towards the camera just a touch more for a second? Or is it like, is it mounted?
So that's, I don't know if it'll like stay in like focus range.
It looks relatively in focus. Can you bring it to the left a little bit though? There we go. So there's a little bit better idea of what we've got so far.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell if it's like flat to the camera. Because it's on my easel, so I can't like push it back further so you can see the whole thing.
This feels relatively flat by just comparing the reference to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, just for those of you guys who were asking in there.
Yeah.
All right. So we did 5.
Ooh, you know what I
want to
can
do
you know what I
6?
can do? Hold on.
Oh,
I can zoom out. You can see that's the whole canvas. So you can see like how deep a perspective it's in.
yeah.
Me, what did I do?
Tap the focus.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Forget you guys work on those Lumixes too. You know exactly what it is. Like all the gear. Listen, like all the gear that I use because of Proko. Like he came to my studio like back in like shut up. He came to my studio in Jersey City back in like 2000 and I don't know, like 16 or something, 2017.
Yeah, some years ago. Yeah.
And like was just so generous, like just telling me all the things that like all the tricks of the trade, you know, because I was just getting into Patreon at the time. And like, man, like what a guy. Can't say enough about Stan. Super generous.
I'll pass these thoughts on. He's gonna go like Stephen who?
Oh, point number 6. Do we want to do point number 6? Here is the deal, MFs.
This is the bonus.
Do not be one-dimensional, right? Everything that you do is a spectrum of contrast, right? So if you have something that's incredibly rough, you want something that's incredibly smooth. If you have something that's incredibly dark, you want something incredibly light. If you want something that's incredibly rigid and harsh, you want something that's light and playful. Everything in your drawing is about expanding a range of expression, right? So do not go to sleep. Do not be one-dimensional in the way that you kind of choose your tools of expression, right? The way that you choose your shape language, the way that you choose your value application, the way that you choose your materials. Just consider like everything's a part of the message, right? Like everything that you put onto this paper contributes to like a viewer's experience. And I know that like you're all out there going like, Steve, don't call me Steve. You're like, Steven, I'm just trying to make a head study. That's fine. But like, still, I got to talk about this stuff. Give me a break.
I think there's a sentence that you said in your initial list about the things for today. You said pair soft with hard, simple with complex, large with small, calm with energetic. I think that's a good boiling down of it. It's like you've done this before.
It's like I've said these things a couple times, you know?
Yeah.
It's like I've spent my entire freaking life doing this stuff.
Yeah, for those of you guys who don't know, Steven's out there traipsing around the world, teaching art and taking names. Yeah.
I want to be like one of those like samurai films, you know, like I see another artist in the street and I know I have to chop his head off.
You guys both reach for the pencil at your hip like it's a samurai sword.
Yeah. No, but it is like, by the way, like it is an incredible journey. And like for people that are like just at the start of it, you know, you're thirsty for these like benchmarks and getting some kind of traction. And I don't want any like lofty advice to kind of stand in your way of thinking, you know, like I just need to learn some simple stuff. But I think like as a teacher, certainly it is your job, for sure it's your job to deliver the pathway to that simple stuff. But I think it's also kind of your job, and I don't say this lightly, and I don't think that I do it lightly or do it all the time. But it's also your job to inspire. And I think that to me, that means talking about how high the ceiling goes, right? Like talking about the things that you can do with this, that if you work really hard, eventually you will do with this. You know, so that's where a lot of this kind of conversation comes from. From my perspective is like, I want to talk about the things that I've found, you know, not that I've gotten to the mountaintop, but at least the hills that I've scaled, I have a pretty decent view of like, you know, what the landscape looks like as an artist who works in portraiture.
Mm-hmm. We have a question about anatomy. Did you study head anatomy to gain the accurate size of the head, or have you learned through observation of facial features and points?
I'm gonna hit you guys with some facts. I'm gonna hit you with some real shit. I think, by the way, I did study anatomy. I did teach anatomy. In fact, I have a course on my Patreon page called Anatomy for Portrait Artists. But all that being said, there's so many different artists that I've been around that have cracked this nut so many different ways that I don't really think that there's like one way to do it. What I've developed is that I think is a kind of a grand unifying theory about like learning to draw is that all these things that you can learn are like side quests. The main quest is continuing drawing. So I need new ideas. I need stimulation. I need a new side quest to keep me motivated to make the next drawing. Whether that side quest is anatomy, whether that side quest is studying structure, whether that side quest is developing an app that helps people look at anatomy and structure. All
What's
these
that
things
app, Steven?
just keep. It's the Head Study app, baby. It's on the Apple App Store. Get it. It's the best $7, $8 that you'll spend. The point is, like, all these things that you're doing are just things that you do that keep you drawing, right? If you maintain that momentum and enthusiasm, you will arrive somewhere, right? It's the people that stop, the people that lose motivation, people that lose vision, those are the ones that don't get good at this stuff. So whatever you're doing, consider if it makes you draw, it's a valid enterprise and you should keep doing it. Can it be optimized? Probably, but don't let like kind of perfection, like don't, what is it? Don't let good be the enemy of great.
Don't let perfection be the enemy of good enough.
Yeah, there you go. So the point is, like, I think we're all on this quest. We're all on this journey to try to learn to draw. You know, just put one foot in front of the other. Whatever keeps you inspired and keeps you moving, that's the good thing.
Absolutely. Recently, I was trying some different stuff out to be able to find my way back to drawing more. I found some things that work, and that was nice. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. This is, what is the absolute worst definition of art you've ever heard?
Oh, well, I mean, it's you see it usually performed more than you hear it stated overtly. But I think that there are people this is asking me to like burn some bridges. I think that there are people like into artwork, especially representational artwork, as like historical recreationists, like the people that go out in the Civil War battlefields and like dress up in suits and stuff, and like make a play battle. I think that narrowing the scope of what representational art is into some kind of like historical recreation of what happened in the 19th century is kind of a nonsense, and it should happen less and less as time goes on and generations pass, and stop being abused of this idea that we are totally beholden to the past. The past is great, but like kind of the future is where I'd like to be heading. So that would be, I guess, my blanket statement would be like, let's drop the historical recreation. The past was fantastic. It's there to be learned from, maybe not just reproduced.
Okay. Yeah. What is the thing that you saw someone call art that you disagreed with that title for the most?
Oh, what do you mean? Like an artwork a title of an actual artwork? Oh God, no.
I'm changing it because I want to know the opposite question. I think the thing that you said was like a definition of art that you disagreed with. I agree with you there. What's the thing that you saw someone be like, "This is my art," and you were like, "It's not."
All right. So there was, thankfully, I don't know his name. But I used to have a studio at this place called Mana Contemporary in Jersey City. It was a big art complex, a lot of modern artists in it. And
was that British, or you were actually saying inside of it?
Oh no, inside, yeah.
Because you said in it.
What did I say?
Like you said, there's a lot of modern artists in it.
In it. No. It's very much the actual phrase. Inside of the building, there were a lot of contemporary art studios, and so they would have these kind of like special exhibitions in the common spaces of like whatever major New York artist. And I don't remember the guy's name. If you know what it is, put it in the comments section. But he would do this thing where he would like take a bunch of old car fenders. And I guess through some kind of like heavy machinery, he would like mangle them together, and then he'd like kind of stand them up.
What?
And there was one that I had to go by. Basta. That's it.
Wow.
So then I would go by this one that was by the elevator every morning. And the title of this one sculpture, which was mangled car fenders, was, and you need to hear me when I say it, World Peas.
What?
World peas. Like you eat a pea.
Yeah.
World peas.
Wow.
So it's a bit of like a really clever play on words.
It was a play on words. Yes. I think
there's like saying in Italian with a hand gesture like this. Che palle. Like my fucking balls. Like, come on.
Yeah. No, I think the fact.
By the way, I'm cursing way too much stream.
No, this is great. This is great.
No,
I like this because I think the fact that the dude recognized that two words sounded like other words and was like, "That's this thing," and it wasn't.
This guy, by the way, would sell world peas for more than I've made in my career.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure just so much money, but that's how that goes. I think people like to spend money on some things that someone said was art, and it just super duper isn't. And you know, it's great. So someone found that someone else valued something, and they can buy this piece of shit, and then they can borrow money against it, and then later on, it's just like it feels like a flip of a Ponzi scheme kind of deal where someone's just using this for tax purposes.
It feels a bit like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Probably because it is. But anyway, like, so this was I mean, it's just so demoralizing sometimes that you're just like, wow, I don't know how I live in the same universe as that. But it's like, it's a thing, you know, just to switch it back to like an affirming message. Like, I just know that that's not my world. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
Other people do other things, and art is made not uniformly. It's not made to, you know, for everybody to enjoy the same thing. And I would completely validate this guy's ability to make world peas 1,000,000 times over. But when we get dogmatic, it gets really boring. So, like, let's just say it's a different taste, and it ain't mine.
Yeah, I really like your kind statement there. I think that there is something different between a person who, like, if someone made something and they were like, "Look, I made a little man out of this Coke can," like, I'm very proud of them, and I genuinely think that would still have more value in many ways than.
But Steven, we're talking about world peas.
That's what I was thinking. So that was my other question. So let's say he sold it for $1 million. I don't think that was the number, but wouldn't you pay $1 million for world peace?
Like, I didn't realize that was going to be the argument, but yeah, probably. I mean, like, what? Oh, this is the meta. What's world peas really worth?
Exactly. He nailed it. I'm so proud of him.
All right, we've done 2 hours. We're 2 hours in.
Indeed.
I think we need to what do you got for worst comments? Worst comment. What's the worst comment question?
I don't think that there were any that were truly terrible. I think
people, this is your time. Get them in the chat.
Yeah,
say something terrible. You might win like a $200 course.
Yeah, say your terrible comments. I think we've gotten some decent questions that we can choose a winner from. In the meantime, I will say that we've talked about a few things in here that are not on Proko. We have patreon.com/Stephen Bauman Artwork, where you can get a whole bunch of stuff from Stephen, and you don't have to wait to see those things become courses later because he's putting them out regularly. You can get some behind the scenes stuff. You can get some other things that teach you things, some other stuff that's just interesting. I think you guys should check that out on his YouTube channel, which is here. Very similar name as Stephen Bauman Artwork. You can see that podcast and art video series that he was talking about as a new project of his. I think you should check that out. It could be a pretty cool one. If nothing else, it'll be a great companion to listen to while you make art as well. And you can get Steven's courses for 20% off right now on proko.com/Bauman. I think you should check them out. Not everyone here is going to get a free course. Only a couple select individuals are going to. So still check them out if you don't win one. All right. I think we only got a couple. And new contenders we got here was a question saying, what does your pencil taste like? And which pencil will make me a better artist? That's a bad question, but for a different reason. And then a terrible comment. Do you hide the eyes of your drawings so they can't watch you make them?
Yikes, my guy! Like
you do have some
that's
time
like
in the
just
beginning.
shots fired for nothing. Like, what's going on? Why am I hiding my eye? What do you mean?
Yeah,
That might be. That's gonna like stay with. That might be the worst comment. I don't hide the eyes of my drawings. Look at this guy right on here. He's looking right at me.
That one, yeah, but what about the other one? Why can you only have this person half look at you?
What do you mean? This guy's looking at me. Well,
yeah, that guy.
I'm over here. Yeah.
I
don't know.
He's actually looking over that
baseless.
way.
This is a baseless claim, and I'm not.
This is spurious lies. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. This person just asked bad question. Can I win? That is in fact a bad question. So,
well, I mean, he's trying to game the system there, to be fair.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I think if we don't have a strong contender right now for who we've chosen for bad question, would you want to do anything with that, or do you want to just not give one for bad question? Because I do think that there was one that you responded to most for good questions.
Well, let's do the good question. Who do we got for that?
Okay. The one that I think you responded to most was from Humblebee Art Studios. You tell me if this is true or not, but that was the how deep should an artist think about strokes that they make question.
Ooh, that person's winning.
Okay. All right. Humblebee Art Studios, do me a favor. Either drop your name that you use on Proko, or just send an email to support@proko.com. Either one of those is okay. I'm going to put that on screen. And if someone else thinks that they're going to send their name in, it's very easy for me to verify from a person which account is theirs on YouTube. Don't try to do it if it wasn't you. You're going to waste my time. I'll just be mad, and then I'll ban you from our chats forever. All right, so reach out to that support@proko.com if that was you, if you don't want to share your @name for Proko on here. And then this is a different question. Michael Alpguest asked, do you think your work is bad?
Nah, it's pretty good.
Okay.
I'm not like a force of nature or something. Like, I'm not. I was thinking about this recently. Like, I'm not like the biggest artist. Like, I draw really well, and like I think I communicate well. And I think I make art like pretty well. But like, I think that there's artists. You know, you look at the broad scope, like artists like making things out there in the world. Like I'm pretty good. So I don't think it's bad. Like and I'm not afflicted with that like sort of artist personality where I'm like, oh, I'm so terrible. Blah. You know, I mean, I'm not really like that, and I don't think that really helps anybody. It's not a productive attitude. So no, I kind of dropped that ages ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think to
sorry,
know
that, like really callous to like this guy, but no, it doesn't. It really doesn't help you. Like, you know, it's a psychological game that you're kind of. It's like a race that you're racing against yourself, and you really gotta like work hard to kind of maintain positivity. Like, you can't kind of mess around with your mentality and your attitude about your work.
Yeah, it has knock-on effects, if nothing else. Like, that becomes a thing that you apply to other parts of your life. And if you're just constantly comparing yourself to someone else in a way that isn't beneficial to you, giving yourself a path forward to try to gain whatever that person has or does, then you're just going to be negative. If all you do is spend your time thinking like, that person has this mansion, they've got 1 million followers, they've got so much money. If you're not trying to, first and foremost, ask yourself if you even want any of that shit. Do you actually want that and the things that come with it? If you don't, stop.
Bounce.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think no one asked a truly bad enough question for the
I'm
bad
kind of
question.
surprised. I thought Proko's people would like show up for that one.
Oh, you think they have bad questions?
I think that they have great senses of humor. That's what I think.
I see. Actually, wait here. I have a question for you. Those 2 lines that you made on the side, which of those do you think you would have named Booba and which one was Kiki?
Because I don't know anything about these 2 things, that would have been Booba. That would have been Kiki.
Oh, you're in the very small percentage of this one.
Really? Did you do a poll on Proko?
No, the spikier line would have been called Booba.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, there's a famous thought experiment. They go to different people who have different languages, some that have never touched other people's languages or anything. But if you ask them which is called Booba and which is Kiki between these 2 shapes, one that is more of like a twisty kind of cloudy thing, and then one that's kind of a spike ball, almost universally people say Booba is the rounded one, Kiki is the spiky one. Not here. Not today.
Neurodivergent, baby. It's my life.
So yeah, thank you all for joining us. Go follow Steven on all the things that you see online. And if you don't want to follow Steven, maybe you can follow Steven. I'm also online. But yeah, go check out courses, buy some things, 20% off right now, or just follow here on YouTube for more free education if you don't have the money. Thank you guys for joining us. Steven, thank you for joining us, and we will see you all again.
Rock and roll, guys.